What's going on, guys? And welcome back to the Center Saint Collection, Center Saint channel, here with Lamar West. Here to touch on all things faith based Christian culture, black culture, entertainment, everything you could think of. And today we have a topic that's near and dear to my heart, which is we're going to talk about some ways that we can make Christian hip hop better. And the reason I want to make this video and talk about this topic is because I am a Christian hip hop fan. I love Christian hip hop. I've been a fan of Christian hip hop since I was a child. When I first got baptized as a child, my brother, I have an older brother, right after I got baptized, he gave me an MP3 player. And on the MP3 player, he had two artists. It was J. Cole and Lecrae. And ironically enough, those two guys became my favorite rappers. But Lecrae, that was the first time I ever had heard Christian hip hop. I didn't know it was a thing. Only Christian music I knew was about gospel music that I heard when I went to church growing up, right? So for me to hear Lecrae, it was the After the Music Stops album that Lecrae put out, and that was, to me, that's still his best album to date. I think that is his classic album. That's like Lecrae's Illmatic. I think that's probably the best Christian album, hip hop album ever. That's like the staple to me, in my opinion. But amazing album, phenomenal album, top to bottom, no skips. I mean, I heard that album and I was blown away by so many things. Just by one, his skill set, his lyrical ability, storytelling, his introspective wordplay and lyrics. The beats were good, the production was good, everything about it was good. The subject matter, the concept, everything was fire. And for me to hear a guy who was older than me at the time, but seemingly still young, another young black man, from similar regions of America that I'm from, and seemingly like we have similar stories. He was talking about some of the things that I could relate to, or things that I felt or that I saw going on in the world, things that I was experiencing myself. For him to make that type of album, it really spoke to me. It really resonated with my heart and my spirit. And it made me realize, like, man, there are Christian people, Christian rappers specifically, who are dope, who are fire, and they make great music just as good as secular music. And I felt it and I related to it, right? It didn't seem corny, gimmicky, all of the stuff that people usually put on Christian hip hop. When I first heard Lecrae was none of that on After the Music Stops, that first album that I heard by Lecrae. So it was a phenomenal piece of work. And since then, I became a fan of Christian hip hop. So after listening to Lecrae, I, checked out guys like 116 Click, the whole Reach Records movement. So guys like Trip Lee, Andy Mineo, and they were all phenomenal. Andy Mineo, fire. Trip Lee, fire. Right. I think at that time they had like KJ52 was a big deal. Maybe Toby Mac. He's kind of not really a rapper, but he was a big Christian artist at the time. And so, but at that time when I was a child, it wasn't a huge genre of music. Right. It was really mainly just Reach Records. And then as time went on, it became a larger genre, a larger pool of artists. And you see guys who now cover the whole plateau, the whole palette of music, specifically hip hop, right? For CHH, you have guys who rap like Lecrae, guys who rap like Andy, guys who rap like Trip Lee. Then you have guys like What Up RG or John Keith or No Big Deal or whoever, Emmanuel the Prophet. You got Detroit sounding rap. You got Future, Young Thug sounding rap, Migos type rap with Caleb Gordon. Whatever it is that you like, there's somebody out there that makes it in terms of a Christian rapper, right? So I've had the chance to see some Christian shows, some concerts, like No Big Deal, John Keith, Miles Minnick, Lecrae. I saw Lecrae 2 or 3 times. I actually had the chance to interview Lecrae twice. I interviewed Lecrae, and that was a blessing. He invited me to a few of his shows. That was dope. So I've had a chance to really engage in Christian hip hop and the culture, right? And I want to see Christian hip hop take off. I want to see Christian hip hop continue to grow and expand, which it has done over the last 10 years. But I want to see it take off even more. And there are a few things that I have, some observations, some key takeaways in which I think could be beneficial towards Christian hip hop. Because overall, I think is amazing. I think, like I said, the range of creativity, the palette of whatever your music, whatever sonically you're into, there's somebody out there. The skill set is good. The subject matter is good. It's all good. It's all fire. And they're creative. They take pride in their work. They're putting out good productions. Like, it's not just low budget stuff or X, Y, and Z. Like it's real big budget music videos, big budget album rollouts, all of that type stuff, right? Working with good producers like Darkchild and Zaytoven or whoever, right? So it's amazing to see, and I love Christian hip hop. When I listen to it as a fan, as a journalist, or trying to be objective about Christian hip hop, sometime when I see there's two things that stick out to me that I think we can do to improve Christian hip hop. One is something I call replacement rap. What replacement rap is, it's when you see a Christian artist, they will look at a guy like Amigos or Future or Young Thug, right? They will probably type in Migos, Future, Young Thug type of beat. They'll rap the same cadence, same flow. And the only thing that is different is that they will take these certain trigger words that secular artists use, right? Say we're talking about a Future song. An artist may type in a Future type beat, have a Future type flow and cadence. And the only thing that's different is he takes the secular words and replaces them with Christian words. So instead of saying, I'm sipping on lean, he'll say, I'm sipping on holy water. Or instead of saying, I'm riding with the 30 Glock in my lap, he'll say, I'm riding with the Bible in my lap. Or I'm shooting at the ops with my Glock. I'm shooting at the ops, shooting at the demons with my Bible, right? In which I understand the idea of it. And sometimes it can come off as clever or witty. But in my opinion, majority of the time, it comes off as just replacement rap, in which I think that's part of the stigma that Christian rap gets, is like, oh, it's gimmicky or corny, because that comes off as gimmicky. Because in reality, nobody talks like that. In real life, nobody is saying I'm walking around sipping on holy water. In real life, nobody is sipping on holy water. In real life, nobody's saying I'm riding around with the Bible and you're referencing it as a gun, right? You're not talking about I'm toting the big, if a Future says I'm toting the big 30 on my lap, toting the big 30 on my hip, nobody's saying I'm toting the big Bible on my hip. In real life, that's not how we talk. It doesn't really apply, right? At least the benefit of the doubt I can give the secular artists is that they may really live that lifestyle. Even if they're capping or lying, at least it makes sense to say they're sipping on lean, or they're smoking on whatever, or they're toting a 30 on their hip. It's like, you actually know people who do that actually is a lifestyle. But in reality, there is no truth to saying I'm sipping on holy water, because you're not sipping on holy water. You're not referencing the Bible as a gun. You're not toting the Bible on your hip as a weapon, right? You may carry a Bible, it may be in your car, maybe in your church, maybe in your home, but it's not as a gun. You get what I'm saying? So those type of things can come off as gimmicky. To me as a fan, even as a fan, it comes off as gimmicky sometime, or lazy. And especially the people who are casual CHH fans, or people who are now new into Christian hip hop, right? So that's one thing that I would challenge Christian artists to do, is to not, it's just try, like, sometimes it comes off as clever or witty, but to maybe just stray away from it. And if you look at the biggest Christian artists, right? If you look at a Lecrae, you look at an Andy Mineo, you look at a No Big Deal, these guys don't really rap like that, right? Like I said, maybe here and there you may hear it occasionally, but very rarely. But if you look at the biggest Christian artists in today's time, that's not how they rap. They give real reality raps. They give real authentic, genuine raps. And if you're just being genuine and authentic to yourself, you can start rapping, and your faith, your love for God, your love for Jesus will just come out of you without you even having to try to be gimmicky or try to use certain words to replace secular words, right? Like, you can just rap. Lecrae can just start rapping. No Big Deal can just start rapping. And because these people love God, it's going to come out naturally with what they're talking about. The same way, if you listen to Kendrick or Cole or Drake, whatever their subject matter is, it's naturally going to come out when you listen to them, because that's just what they're talking about, their self, their introspective self. They're talking about their observations or society or their experiences, right? So as a Christian, if you're just rapping about your life, yourself, your experiences, your observations, it will just naturally come out in your music without you having to try to be gimmicky or say, oh, I'm sipping on holy water. Because in reality, you're not sipping on holy water, which is fine. I understand the idea of it. But again, you don't have to say that or use that as a gimmick, because you can just talk about your relationship with God, right? You don't have to lean into any trigger buzzwords of Christianity, right? And to me, that doesn't just make something Christian, right? Like just slapping a Christian word on it or replacing a secular song with Christian words doesn't necessarily make it a Christian song, in my opinion, right? I'll get more into why I think that. But that's one thing I would challenge artists to do. And again, if you just look at the biggest artists in the genre and look at what makes them big and what makes fans resonate toward them, it is simply that they're being genuine and authentic to themselves, right? And I think that that's something that goes a long way. If you look at it, Andy Mineo or John Keith or whoever the case may be, right? So I think that's something that every other Christian artist can learn from, and straying away from the kind of gimmicky replacement rap, because it can come off as like gimmicky or lazy at times, right? And which I think our Christian artists are significantly more, just significantly better than that, significantly, right? So I think that is something that we can stray away from. But in regards to a second topic, I think something else that is important is, I think that, how can I say this? I touched on the replacement rap. I think sometimes the best way that you can represent Jesus or bring glory to God or worship God in your music is just by making the best possible music that you can make. So, for example, sometimes I feel like a secular artist, in a way, can be bringing God glory or being a better representation of God's work, even without them mentioning Jesus. For example, if you look at, I don't know, let's just say an Adele. If you listen to Adele and you're like, man, she can really sing. Like her voice is amazing. Her voice is beautiful. She can really sing, right? That can be a reflection of God's creation or God's creativity or a gift that God has bestowed upon somebody. Like, wow, God really bestowed this amazing voice on this woman, or God really is showing his creativity by giving this person this voice, unlike anything else we've ever heard, right? And it could be the same for a secular hip hop artist. It could be the same for a Cole or Kendrick or Drake or whoever the case, whoever you may think of, right? As doing something at the highest of levels possible can be a reflection of God and God's creation and what God does and gifts that God bestows upon us, right? So, for example, with Christian music, sometimes if you're just making music to the highest of your ability, whether it's singing or rapping, and you do it at such a high capability and high frequency that it's like, wow, this is a true reflection of God. God has given me a gift of rapping or rhyming words or my lyricism, and I'm doing it at such a level that this is a reflection of the gift that God has given me, right? Or same with singing, as opposed to say, hey, I'm going to just make a song and slap the word Christian on it or use the Christian replacement words. And I'm like, hey, this is Christian music. This is Christian hip hop. Everybody support it. It's like, okay, but is this really good? Or is this really a reflection of God? Because we know that God bestows gifts upon us, and we know that God operates at the highest of quality or highest of frequency, right? So if you're making clothes, if you're cooking, if you're making music, you just do it to the best of your capabilities. Do it to the best, whatever gift God has given you, do it to the best of your capabilities. Work as if you're working for God and not man. Show off that capability, show off that skill that God has bestowed upon you, and do it at the highest level. Don't do it at an amateur level or below average level and say, well, I'm a Christian, everybody support it, and throw the word Christian on it. That doesn't necessarily represent God in the best manner. Because if we have below average, subpar music and it's all being titled as Christian, and it's like, okay, well, all this is Christian music, but why doesn't it sound as good as regular music or secular music? Why are y'all not singing as good as these regular people? Why are y'all not rapping as good as these regular people? And a part of it isn't because God hasn't blessed people, Christian artists, with the same voice or the same rapping ability or same lyrical wordplay. It's just that the standard is lower for Christian music. So we get excited when we hear a new Christian artist, a new Christian person, and we just say, oh, yeah, they're a Christian artist, I'm going to support them, X, Y, and Z. When in reality, it's like, yeah, you're a Christian artist, but you need to step it up. You need to be good. You need to be better. Just you being a Christian artist alone isn't enough for us to support it and say, let's everybody clap hands. This is great music, right? It has to be good. It could be Christian clothes. It could be whatever the case may be. Even if you're going to do it in God's name, do it to the best of your ability. So I think that those are two things that I take away in regards to stuff that we can do to make Christian hip hop better, because I want to see the genre continue to blossom, flourish, prosper, and grow, because I love Christian hip hop. Sometimes I still listen to secular music. Like, I'm a big fan of J. Cole. That's probably where it ends for me right now. Like, when I was younger, I listened to all hip hop. Right now, it's hard for me to listen to hip hop. I really can't get into too much secular hip hop anymore. And I want to fully listen to just straight Christian music, but at times I find there's a lack of quality. But then again, there's amazing guys like Lecrae or No Big Deal or John Keith or Andy Mineo or whoever else. Put me on some new guys for sure. I like 1K Few. He's an example of a guy who I wasn't the biggest fan of 1K Few in the beginning, but now I feel like he's gotten better and I feel like his quality has stepped up. At first, I felt like that about 1K Few. I thought that he was just putting out music and slapping Christian on it. And it was like, oh, look at this dude from Atlanta. He looks like a regular dude. He looks like a dude from the streets, but he making Christian hip hop. And that's what I felt at first. But now I feel like, oh no, he's really stepping into his prime and he's really taking pride in like, I want to make the best music possible to represent God. And he's now has a fan in me, right? So I really do think that we can grow this space of Christian hip hop for sure, and I want to be a part of that for sure. So I definitely say, hey guys, let me know in the comments some Christian albums, some Christian songs you want me to review. Let me know your thoughts on Christian hip hop overall in the comments, and thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll come back with more observations on the Christian hip hop space and what we can do to improve it. Till next time.